What is the point of stars? Absolutely nothing. So you know what? We're gonna beat the game collecting 0 of them. Well, I'm already going into this knowing that's impossible. So, what is the least amount of stars required to beat Find Everything? Or, what's the most amount of things you can collect without collecting a single star? Okay, so here are the rules. 1. I can't collect stars, which is obvious. 2. If I do accidentally collect a star, I must immediately leave the game. And if I collect a thing after I collect a star, then it can't count. Now, there are some scenarios where I accidentally collect a thing after collecting a star, but in those scenarios, I'll just go back and collect the thing without collecting the star to like prove that I can do it. But those are pretty rare. 3. No advanced tech. So basically what I mean by this is there's no clipping or exploiting outside the map. Mostly because I'm garbage at doing that and like I don't really know how. But I will allow simple techniques like a roll jump, which is basically jumping and rolling at the same time. Anyways, let's get into the challenge. So my strategy starting out was to just rush 60 things as much as possible. Once I got to 60 things, then I could be more organized and narrow down like each little area, like Spawn Hill, Thingsburg, stuff like that. But as you can see, it's really was pretty easy to get the first 60 things. But after I started narrowing things down, there were a couple challenges there. For the sake of time, I'm cutting out literally every other thing that's super easy to collect, which is like 90% of the stuff in this game. Most of the challenges mostly come from the sub areas because in the main world, stars are pretty spread out. So let's get into those. The only difficult part of Doodah Caves was this one jump, which you could easily air dash over the star. Block Party Boogie is where we can officially confirm this challenge is impossible, because with this spring, if you enter it, you're gonna be forced to collect at least 3 stars. I don't know if there's more. And I don't really know a way around this that doesn't involve advanced tech, which I said was against the rules anyway. So let's move on. For the A button thing, the jumpless challenge was actually kind of difficult because there were a couple stars in the way. But after a couple attempts, I managed to finish it. For the Sky Needle ticket, I had to dodge some stars on balloons, so I had to take an alternate route. Sky Needle is our first real challenge, so let's go through it in depth. To dodge the stars on the grind rails, we must first jump on this bouncing thing. I don't know what it is. But we just keep bouncing on it until we can skip the grind rail and hit the balloons. Now, to avoid the stars on the balloons, we can get away with jumping on the first one, but the second one's a little more difficult. So we once again use the bouncing thing to get us over instead of jumping on the balloon. The pink purplish trampolines can actually be avoided if you just fall onto them because the trampoline's hitbox is bigger than the stars. So just like try and stray away from the stars and you should be good. The trampolines are actually really easy to do. And for this grind rail, it's actually not that hard to avoid the stars because you don't really carry momentum when you jump off of it. This jump right here actually took me like 10 or so tries to pull off. It's actually quite hard to avoid the star here. From here, the rest is pretty smooth sailing. Now, I made that look easy, but it took me like over 2 hours of attempts. So, here's my live reaction. Alright, chat. We got one more way to go. Who? What the fuck? Okay. Okay, just here, jump, jump, easy, easy stars. Okay. Alright. Oh! Please! Let's find it go! On to Marmimo World. There's this one jump that I couldn't really find out how to pass, but the solution was to just go on top and take damage from the Goombas to boost you. There was also this brick wall that I couldn't really find a way to get through without collecting a star, so I just went with the easy solution and just went on top. In the noob den, there's this one jump with the zip lines that I can't really seem to get across without collecting a star. However, after some tries, I found out that I could roll jump to skip the first star, and for the next star, I would jump halfway through so my momentum didn't carry, and then air dash into the sponge thing. I don't know what it's called, but to avoid the star as well. In the skip shroom swamp, there are these like sparkling things you need to collect. I don't know what they're called. I'll just call them sparkles. Some of them overlap with the stars, but it's actually not a problem because the hitbox of the sparkle things are bigger than the stars. So you just have to jump around and avoid the stars. In the jelly jump manufactory, there are these ninja stars in this pipe, so just walk on top of it. And there's also this other jump with the cranes again. Cranes, zip lines, whatever. Same thing with the noob den. I just did a roll jump to the second crane to avoid the first star. In the Yippee City construction zone, there's this one star beneath the zip line that I'm pretty sure is impossible to avoid. So here's what I did for this. First, I went to the dump and I did the glitch with the Elmer thing where you steal a rocket, like you spam E as you're teleporting and you'll get the rocket in the world. So basically I just do a rocket jump and get up that way. In the Yummy Yum Yard, the timer challenge was not exactly difficult, it was just extremely tedious, and I had to restart several times. This jump in particular was really hard for me to do without avoiding a star, so this is what kept messing me up. In the Blue Hoo Beach, there's this one section with springs that has stars and I have to avoid those. But because it's an open world, there's a lot of easy skips. So there was this nearby hill that I just jumped and then I got to the seagull that way. In Yippee City, there's another section with rings that has stars. And I think you could avoid this, but I'm too lazy. So I just did a roll jump to get to the onion ring. After that, I went on to collect the rest of the things, and I can confirm that you can collect 218.25 things without collecting a star. Now, it's 0.25 because you can collect one out of the floor glow sticks, but the rest of the glow sticks are impossible without collecting those stars. But now let's answer the question, what's the least amount of stars required to beat Find Everything? Alright, so we're supposed to be forced to collect 3 stars to get past this spring. There's a lot of stars in this section that can't really be avoided. So what I did is I jumped into the spikes to boost me, and then I skipped stars that way. And if you time it right, you can avoid stars while going to the next spring because you can hit the edge of the spring's hitbox right here. This section right here involved a couple skips. For this part, I rolled off the circle thing. I don't know what half the stuff in this game is called. So I'm gonna call it the circle thing to bypass the star in that balloon and jump to the next balloons that way. For the last section, I just did the speed run strat of just rolling onto the disco ball and bypassing all the other stars that way too. And well, there you have it. It took me a total of 3 stars to get every single thing, and that's it. I'm too lazy for an outro.